Right, so first of all, I'll give you a cheers.
Cheers.
The chamomile tea, cheers. Mine is also chamomile tea.
Yeah.
Harbert, the Flowing Dutchman, Egbert. Welcome to the show. Yeah.
Thanks.
So for obviously anyone who doesn't know you, can you tell us about you? Tell us your story.
Tell us your story. How long do we have?
As long as you want, as long as you want.
As long as you can stay awake after a long day.
Yeah, exactly. So after I studied, I was on a path to become, university degree type of person, and I was studying business administration, and after that I was kind of in a rut, and I kind of had a transformational moment, going through a pretty hectic breakup, and during that time I started to transform and change the way I thought about myself, become interested in a lot of health, a lot of mental health, physical health kind of practices, started to train a lot. I was coaching people from rowing at the time, and I was like, what do I really want to do with my life? So I started working as a freelance waiter and bartender, and just went on my first solo trips. And that was kind of the time when I started to see what I liked when I was traveling. I also started to see that I could spend my time listening to amazing audiobooks, learning about life, learning about growth and how to build, yourself, your business, etc. And I became inspired enough to say, like, okay, I'm going to do the opposite of what my peers are doing, my friends, and I'll start my own outdoor bootcamp training. So I did that, called it Functional Heartbeats at the time. And the goal was I had this little bicycle cart. It was pretty big for a bicycle cart, but it could only hold up to 45 kilos. So after 45 kilos, the wheels would kind of start turning in. And
What kind of things were you carrying?
like training materials for my outdoor bootcamp.
But I mean, like, this was before you got into mace.
Yeah.
So what?
Like a kettlebell, Bosu ball I had in there, a rib trainer, all those types of materials I used, bands. It was kind of a group training idea and experience. And then I was already into the YouTube world, finding teachers there that were into strength training, but from an angle that I really enjoyed. So skill was a really high virtue for me in training from the first moment. Somehow that clicked from the first time, where I was like, oh no, all these people are not really doing it accurately. It has to be specifically like that, and focus on this and be really minute. And through those videos, I also started to explore more about kettlebells and different things. And the club bell and the mace after that came up. So I actually bought a club bell first, 15 kilogram one, which was really heavy. 15 kilograms is a lot. And that, but I also was able to do something with it. So I started to kind of feel into it. And even though it was a lot of weight, I then stumbled upon videos about the mace and then I bought an 11 kilogram mace and a 4 kilogram. And the 4 one, I was planning to use that for my trainings.
Yeah.
The 11 one was cancelled, and then only the 4 one came. And I was like, I remember shit, I only get the 4 one. At least I can try it. And then I remember swinging that for the first time, and it just, it was a really special moment because it felt really nice. It was something different than the big club bell. Big club bell was like, you're like, rah, rah. And this was like, and it just really felt connected. Something about it, just the movement. And that, I started to use that in my trainings immediately when I got that. And just started playing around with it. I mean, there were a few, you must remember, there were a few obscure YouTube videos. Some people were coaching through YouTube and teaching it, but there was not a lot out there. Not a lot that you could really find. So then of course you need Instagram when you have a business. So I was like, all right, I'll get on the gram and start posting about it. I remember a friend of mine saying, oh, you should use more hashtags, etc.
Yeah.
You know, it was really like I had like 50 followers or something from the start, just with some friends. And before I knew it, the videos that I was using for my bootcamp, etc., they kind of, they were doing okay. And people started to notice it or repost things, and it started to like somehow grow a little bit. And that's when people start to recognize me as the man with the stick, because it was for people it was such a new thing. And even though I was posting about bench pressing and body weight movement and pull-ups, somehow that stuck, and that sparked my interest, because I was like, hey, I really like using it. I really like, my clients really like using it. So this is maybe something I should dive more deep in, even though I didn't really have the tools for it, which is kind of weird, because usually you dive into something because you know that you can get more education out of it, or you know that you can go deeper if you take a course of something. But it wasn't something like that available, so I just started playing around with it more.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into the vision that I have for myself, as I wanted to expand and grow. And then I started to focus more on those tools, so I had club bells, I had maces, and just, I kind of had my own way of moving with it from the start, something that felt nice, something that was good, like a lot of front swings that we did today in the workshop. Those were kind of movements that I really enjoy, pivoting around. It's like, oh, this makes me feel in a similar way that first original swing made me feel like. And then it started to expand more quickly as I started to dive more into it. So I decided to go to America and be like, all right, I'm just gonna go on my own trip and search for all the people that I know that I want to meet and see where that takes me, And that was kind of the start of me traveling around the world and just trying to get maces so I can make beautiful flowing videos with beautiful backgrounds in different cities with different people that were also doing it.
Do you plan your trips, or do you just kind of wherever I lay my hat kind of thing?
Depends.
Yeah.
So that trip, for example, I wanted to do a certification with Rick Brown, which was in Austin, and then I wanted to do the On It one, which was also there in Austin. So that was kind of set. And my girlfriend would come to San Francisco and then do a trip up to Portland. So that was kind of how it was connected. And then I found someone in Portland because that was also connected to it. So that's kind of how it grew. There were a few like attach points, and then the rest are filled in once you say, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then me and my girlfriend at the time, she really wanted, we were planning to go for a 3-month trip. She really wanted to go to Nepal. So I was looking on the map, and I was like, Nepal, India. And I'd seen some videos. Paul Tarasov-Kowinski shared those videos online, the old videos. Those were literally the only videos available on it, the ones that he shared. These people swinging these gadas and in these little tiny, underwear things. Like it looked like really like surrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that looks really ancient and old. So that, and I was looking at the map and it's like, well, it's right underneath it. So why don't we go for the next 2 months to India? And she was like, all right. And then I just got my motorcycle license the day before we left, with something in my mind like maybe it would be fun. I remember looking on the internet like, how do you buy a motorcycle in India? It was kind of a thing, but I was also like, is that something we want to do together? It's kind of an adventure, kind of a journey. Yeah. And so it happened that the first city that we came into in India was Varanasi, and Varanasi was, that was the capital or the city that most of those gyms were. I had no idea, but I just started asking around, and so we did find a few places. And I made a few videos with my phone at the time, not really with a goal, but I was kind of sharing some health stuff. So like in the Himalayan mountains in Nepal, I was doing, pull-ups in different places, and because I'm always training, so I just made some footage of doing it with epic background views. And then when it was in India, I made some videos of me doing all those ancient training stuff. And somehow those clicked, and I started to see like people like it when I share more exotic looking videos, different environments with different types of people in the background. So I really started. That's kind of when I realized like I like traveling and creating content and doing things with the things that I like. And that trip was really cool. Although we had a lot of issues with the motorcycle itself, all the way from north to south. And after that, I decided to keep the motorcycle. And that was kind of a way for me to go back next year. Yeah. Like, well, I got the motorcycle anyway, I got some friends already, so why don't I just go back? And that's when I took my GoPro for the first time. So I just made a YouTube channel around that time. And I was like, maybe I can, make some videos and who knows? Now, of course, not really good videos. But just the last day before I went, I got an Instagram message of this wrestling channel. I was like, hey, we saw your video, it's pretty cool. Do you want to meet up? We're in Delhi. And I was flying from Delhi. So I just got there, I had 2 days in Delhi. And the last day they could meet up. And I made this video with them about making this typical wrestling drink. Because all the tools that I use, they come from the traditional wrestling style. So we're making this little thing, and it's like almonds. You have to crush the almonds, and then you have to do it through the badam. The badam means almonds, so it's kind of a milk of almonds. And they drink that after their sports and their games and their training sessions. And that video, because they had quite a good reach, that video went completely viral on YouTube. So that's when I got my first 10,000 subscribers within a few weeks. And that was like, hey, wait a second, what happened there?
Yeah.
Because I was there because I wanted to share these ancient methods with Western people. Because I was just like me, I had no idea where I come from. So if I show that, then people like you and me understand, hey, look at this. This is really cool. Yeah, this is a thing there, and it's actually old and it has tradition. But then I started to reach an Indian audience, and then I was like, whoa, what's this? And even then I realized the Indians also don't know what it is, because it's really small. It's like in these small villages, and even if it's in a village, it's hidden, because it's protected and it's connected to religion. So it's like very close communities. So they're not there with their phone sharing, look at what I can do. No, they were just doing it.
Just doing it because...
Every day, It's like a rhythm. It's like they're going to a prayer. You go to the temple every day. That's also how they do that with the training. So there was kind of a few of those points that were very influential in how things started. And I think in the rest of the years, and that has been now I think that moment was about 7 years ago, I did that, but then just every time it got a little bit better. So I just stayed consistent with it, kept traveling, kept meeting people around the world, both in the West and in the East, that were into this. And I started to develop my own systems, my own online courses, which started with some inspiration and some creative ideas from myself at the time, but then morphed into a foundational method, the Dutch flow method. And that method, really allowed me to understand what I was doing, because I was pretty good swinging a mace, flowing with a mace. People noticed that pretty quickly. But now I was able to translate it and then replicate it. So I was starting to be able to find movements without doing them, because I realized from creating that foundational method, I started to realize that I just did this movement, which also means I could do it in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. And then a movement started to fit into the scheme of things. Yeah. So for me, it started to make sense that I'm like, hey, I'm hitting onto something. It starts to really come alive, like an organism where everything is integrally connected. So I created the Mace Masterclass series, which was kind of a combination of that, trying to connect all the movements that were possible, at least a lot of them, together with using the method as a way to kind of bind them together. And I can say that was the start of a lot of the online courses that I built after that, and also moving from mace to Indian clubs, to heavy clubs and club bells and mules and all the different art forms, which has now combined into the system where we teach all these swinging arts from the same foundational method, with the same build-up in the core structure, where the idea and the primary philosophy is that we're creating flows and we're reaching for a flow state.
Would you have imagined from the beginning of you on your bike with the wheels caving in that it would come this far to having your own mass program?
No, but at the time I was really interested in learning about success. So I was reading the things that would say, manifest, be consistent. Like, how does the world work? How do you create success? How do you I was interested in philosophies and ideas about life, but also about businesses and about how you grow as a person and then connect it to the rest of the world. So I do think that I had no idea I would become, like a mace and clubs expert and specialist. But at the same time, I did know, and I was brave enough to start something like that, knowing that if I give it more attention, it would grow.
Yeah.
Because I did realize that if you stay consistent at something, then you give it energy, then it can expand. But at the time, I was like, well, who knows if this is going to be something? Like, I was more thinking in the way that, maces could become popular just like kettlebells. So it could be that once they become popular, I was early. I was more thinking in those terms. And I didn't realize what's kind of happening now is that I'm part of what makes it grow.
Yeah.
And that's a really weird realization, where it has morphed into I'm also like facilitating the growing of the movement, not just surfing on the growing of the movement.
No, that's a good point.
Have you got the biggest online following, would you say?
Yeah. It's
The modern maces.
It's getting pretty out of hand.
Yeah.
Like, my videos have gone like extremely viral.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Well, yeah, in some ways, and it's also weird for me because I remember like going viral first, and then you have these different waves of virality, and it somehow just seems to keep expanding. And now there's like other channels on even different social media platforms that I'm not doing, and those are going viral. And old friends of me sending me pictures. Hey, I saw this on Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this on Twitter. And I'm like, I don't even have Reddit. I don't even have Twitter. So it has kind of grown out of my own...
out of your control.
Out of my own control in that sense. So that part is a bit like, but I guess that's normal if you kind of get some level of attention. But it has definitely outgrown the mace community. And that kind of happened for me through India. Because those videos seem to reach a much larger audience because they were more, they were different colors, different, something about it was very fascinating.
It's like you said, it's like, I don't know, I'll never get the chance to really see stuff like that going on, so it's really fascinating to me to watch. It's like, have you ever seen the series Strength Unknown with Martin? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like that's fascinating to me because he's going about all these different places. Yeah. Exact same with yours, where you go into these places that no one's ever seen. I mean, when did you do the wrestling video?
Which one?
Well, when was the last one that you'd done?
Probably last year, 20...
Recent, I think, wasn't it?
I think there's just something really like appealing about Western man gets involved in Eastern traditions.
Yeah.
It gives context, doesn't it, to the tool that you use, and it helps you to understand a little bit about the origin, and it kind of makes it make sense in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And to me, I was not really necessarily chasing that. Some people are like, they comment negative comments like, oh, he's just trying to get Indian followers to grow his audience. Like, for me, that was never the goal and has never been the goal. Like, for me, I have taken on the responsibility to also grow it in India. So I realized that because of a lot of that exposure, now Indians, especially during COVID, that's when Indians started to really notice it, and that's when my videos on Instagram, because then they all moved from TikTok to Instagram, because India like they dissolved the TikTok thing. I was on TikTok like way before it was popular in the West because they had it in India, and I was always like, oh, this is a weird Indian thing. And then it became a Western thing, and the Indians were cut off, and then all the Indians went to Instagram. While before that, I was always saying to people in India, like, oh, can I follow you? Yeah, do you have Instagram? No, I don't have Instagram. Do you have YouTube? Yeah, maybe YouTube. So they weren't on Instagram. So for me, in the first 3 years, I was never focused on growing an Indian audience because I was mainly focusing on Instagram, and they didn't even have Instagram.
So they don't have TikTok in India anymore?
No.
Don't they?
No, they don't like China. So they banned it.
Ah.
Yeah. That's why they don't have steel maces there either.
Ah.
Yeah. That's why everything's made of wood there.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mm. So would you say you're getting, not hate obviously, but when you were saying people saying about someone trying to steal, was that?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was making a point about that. No, I do get that from people because they kind of think, oh, white man comes to India, he learns from India, and then he sells it in his own country for a lot of money, even though he learned it for free in India. And that's the narrative that they want to project onto me when they see it. But I never, that was never the case for me because I kind of give it back in some ways.
But it was never really, in my opinion, never seen as the case anyway. It was more seen as like, you're educating people about this exists, look at this.
But that's viral videos.
Educating yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, these people don't know who I am. They don't know my story. They're just projecting.
Yeah.
They're just like, well.
Yeah.
And I think in any culture or community or sport, you get gatekeepers, don't you, who want to keep their thing.
And their community is really tight.
Yeah.
So they're really protective about it. So when I came there and I started to like do a different move with the Gada, they were all like looking at the guru and said, oh, that's a wrong movement. You know, like
Is it like blasphemous?
Yeah, if you do like a pivot with a Gada, like you pivot your body around when you're swinging. And I was like, ooh, and even the people that I was talking to at first, like Gian, he was quite popular now in India too, and was it then for the West in his community. He was also like pretty like
you can't do that.
This is the only way to do it. You know, that's kind of what they were teaching him and what was ideal. So now it's really cool to see him also break open those walls of tradition and also starting to flow and do like different movements and like that's how also India has now in a modern way embraced their old.
So the flow side of things wasn't the traditional Indian way that you initially discovered. Was that more?
Oh no, not at all.
Swinging or?
Well, the part that originally the Western people got from India, yes. So the northern part in Varanasi, that's where they're kind of strict, and that's where they have the long bamboo handles and the stones.
Yeah.
But if you go outside of Varanasi in that area, they don't have that. They have either the wooden clubs, the heavy club, mugdar, or you go further south, and then they have the smaller gadas.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of started to open up a few years ago when I went to Kalari Paitu, which is it's a martial arts, ancient South Indian martial arts, and that's where they have a lot of creativity with fighting with the gada. And then Kalakatai is a wooden club, heavy club art, and they also use quite a lot of creativity in there, quite a lot of. And they wouldn't say it's creativity because it's based on ancient traditions which reach far back. At least that's what they proclaim in that sense. I do see some creativity happening there, but they are a lot more open about multiple ways. They're also closed in the way that our system is closed, and this is the only way you should do it, and you should preach to our guru, and not like anything else is not really true and not sound or right spirited. But I did find, like, in all those different pockets in that country, and if you combine it all, it will be flow. But if you go to the particular point, they will always have their way, their view, their guru, their system.
So, if you did something and they said, that's not how you do it, you don't do it like that, would you ever say to them, like, why? Or was it just a respectful thing where you just...
They're usually people that don't speak so well, at least the ones that would, like, they wouldn't necessarily...
I don't mean why in a disrespectful way, but, like, just in a... Is this just solely because tradition and that's that?
Well, it's difficult because it's connected to religion.
I was going to say, so is
Yeah.
it down the religious aspect or the...
It's down to religion and down to the colonial history. Because the British, they wanted to rule out all the traditional cultures, so they banned a lot of this. So they had to kind of protect it and keep it really secret.
okay.
Secretive. Same in Iran, it's kind of a similar situation. So all of those places are kind of like hidden. It's really difficult to find them. They really need like a guide to get there and someone who knows the exact location. And then when you're there, it kind of like opens up, and then it's like, oh, it's a portal of relative beauty. But yeah, so they're quite protective, and then also religiously, you know, there's certain things you can't go in there with shoes. You have to pay respects to the god when you enter. So it's the movement is also connected to religion, which sometimes is a bit difficult. So that's why not every Indian really likes what I do. Because they also like, hey, but we don't like that you open things up in that way. We like it to keep it exactly in our tradition.
Okay.
But you know, it was going really bad. You know, Akaras were closing down when I came there first. It was like a pretty sad, depressing story. Because those Akaras were like, you know, there used to be 105 in Varanasi, and there were only 32 left when I came there first. And it was every year they closed a few. So it was like, I felt like I was documenting something that would be gone in 10 years.
Was it something that was dying out through the generations, so practices that weren't being passed down to the younger generations, or what was the reason that it was...
Yeah, it's just less popularity. The young people are just going to regular gyms, you know, they're influenced by the West, they all want to go to bodybuilding gyms. So it's just, the government was supporting, they wasn't supporting the traditional Indian culture because it's not an Olympic sport. Same with the wrestling, the traditional wrestling. It's not being supported as much by the government because you can't go to an international level with that particular wrestling because it's only done in India. So that's why they teach mat wrestling. They promote mat wrestling to get people on the mat so that they can get to the Olympics and win a gold medal. Like that's what's behind it. That's what's stimulating it. So they're not nurturing their own like particular local practices that much.
So when you said like, you felt like you were filming something that was a dying art form, would you say that you're bringing it to attention has researched it?
Yeah, in a new way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's now companies that sell clubs.
Yeah.
They make it, they're inspired by, you know, some of the designs that, you know, have been coming out of the West a little bit, or the old British way. Some of them are inspired by how you could find them in the southern part of India, northern part of India. Yeah, well, I'm not taking credit for it, but I know that my videos have reached a lot of people, and I also see that a lot of the people that are starting the companies or that are the experts now in the social media world or like online coaches, I mean, some of them did go through my courses at the start, so I do know that it's difficult not to, because it's like those, apparently the videos that I made they're reaching people, so they're trying to find a way to do a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fail to see how it can be a bad thing for you to highlight it to a different audience, because even like on a smaller scale of today, when you did your workshop, there were things that I've been doing the steel mace for 7-8 years, and there were some things that you brought from that. No, I never once seen it as in, oh, here he is stealing Eastern culture. It was just educating and being like, this is a good way to do this. It's not the only way, but it's a good way to do it. And like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And that's.
Would you say that's something that is quite unique to your approach and your courses and your accreditations, that you do kind of root them in like your own experiences of traditional mace and Garda swinging and your experiences in India? Because there's so many courses out there, isn't there now? There's quite a few different accreditations, and some of them would probably take a different approach and don't touch on that as much.
I've never seen any workshops or courses that have incorporated an Eastern style of training into it.
Or even just
and I don't even know any
context to explain, well, this is how we've got to the point we're at now in terms of the practice that we're putting, you know, out there and what we're doing today, sort of thing. Do you think that's something that you do maybe more than other mace coaches? Or?
Yeah, I think I've always been a bridge builder in some ways. I liked the idea that I could kind of melt things together, because there was the modern world, and the modern movement was also divided into people that were like, oh, traditional exercises and flow and dance and open up, and those two worlds were like meh, meh, meh. And then India was like meh, meh, meh. And to me that was kind of how it felt, and I was like, but wait a second, I like all of it.
Can't we all just get along?
But I like all of it, so let's see if I can, do something to create. And so I took my steel mace to India on my second and third trip, because there was no steel mace there, and I just gave it to Indian people, and they're like, what is this? And then I showed gada, gada, and then they were like, oh, lightweight. But I did, make videos of me flowing in an akara, which to me were like, you see, traditional flow. Like,
and then it becomes an exchange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm just coming to you to take. I want to kind of share my world with you a little bit.
It just opened, for me, it opened like the floodgates of like that mindset where it starts to be like, oh, this is the only way possible, and this is the only thing true. So I do feel that in some ways I have done that from the start. I do say that a lot of the things that I teach and the methodology behind it has come from my own experience of teaching. Of course, I was inspired at the beginning, and I went through Leo's program and all these things, and I went to India, but I've always find like there's some specific techniques they teach, and I've had some good guidance, but it's all like the technique of doing a bamboo handle with a stone gada is something so completely different. So I see that almost as a different track towards the things that I've done with the academy, because it's like you can't really translate that. You have to have a tool like that weighing at least 30 kilograms to actually make sense of it. No one has one of that. You have to make it yourself. And same with those big jewelry clubs, those heavy wooden tools that are like this big on each side of your head. Like, who makes those things? You can only find them there. So I learned that while going there every year a little bit, and then applied that. But I can't teach a course on those big jewelry clubs.
Because no one's got them.
No. So for me, it's always been about, okay, what's available and how can I translate that? So I always tell the story of where the origin is, and then I also make the connection into like, this is how we approach it now, and this is my approach as into how to coach. So a lot of the details and the techniques and different things, they have come because I've been teaching full time for a very long time. Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the blend, and like I was the same when I had the whole flow versus anti-flow of the steel mace, and I was the same. I was like, I like both of them, so I just taught both of them and incorporated both of them because they're just wars that I don't want to get in the middle of. I'll do my own thing and I'll teach them both.
Yeah.
But I never did have that Eastern style taught to me because I don't know anyone from India.
No.
I don't even know. Are there any people in the West teaching?
Well, Paul did a little bit. Paul Taraswakowinski, he of course went to India. He's from Australia, so he's quite far away still.
I was going to say, but I mean more on a local origin.
No.
And I didn't have anyone to teach me steel mace, let alone Eastern style. So to see it on YouTube was a literal this is a different path to go down with what I'm already doing.
Yeah. And also the thing that I did eventually, because Paul did make those videos, but the thing that I did didn't exist in some ways. There was no exposure of these things online except for like a few obscure videos. And it also grew onto me. Like my first years weren't as successful, I was just paying it for myself and try to sleep in these really cheap beds. And I tried to like, don't spend more than €1,000 for like 6 weeks of training, It's like 6 weeks of like moving around on my like old motorcycle, which kept breaking down. So it was like, it wasn't easy in this sense. It wasn't like you're just relaxing and making videos and it's like, ooh, everybody's seeing it. And it's like just a continuous like development. It just got better every time. I got more into the connections, and then I started to realize, oh, that person is also there, and that person is there, and then you start to connect the dots together, but those dots weren't connected yet. So it's like I had to kind of connect it. And
was it you fixing your motorbike or?
Oh no.
You know.
I think I had like 5 new pistons. If anybody is into motorcycles, it's like the main part of the engine that goes up and down. Eventually I found out that the motorcycle I bought had there's like bearings on each side of the main engine compartment, and apparently they put a different part of that engine from a different year model on there, so the bearings were different on both sides. So every time you go above 50, it would start rattling and it would break the piston. It's like, it's terrible.
And you still got that bike?
It's somewhere locked up in. I'm not driving it anymore, but it's still there because I still have this idea. Maybe at some point I want to import it and just put it in a space, right? I think it'll be very rusty by then. Yeah.
So, is your plan to go back to India, or is it?
No, we it is. Yeah, I still really like it. Yeah. So I have some ideas. We're finishing a documentary that we shot 2 years ago, which is going to be really cool because it's kind of we went through the entire country, professionally filming and interviewing gurus and from different arts, and this whole documentary is kind of made to kind of collect and combine it all and tell the story of ancient Indian strength.
That sounds fantastic.
It is going to be
Really
fantastic,
excited
yeah. But it's also very it's just like these online courses. Like nobody was necessarily asking for it because it doesn't exist. So with this too, I was realizing this could potentially exist, but it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And I'm also the only one who could make it in this way. I was like, that's a great business idea.
Yeah.
So we just did it ourselves, paid for it ourselves, and now we're just spending so much time on it. But it's going to be amazing. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be really incredible. So we have some ideas of doing another one, even though this one is still not fully out. And that will be in the south of India, about Kalari Paitu, so that traditional martial arts. The last 2 to 3 years I've spent quite a lot of time learning more about that, because there's also Gada involved with it. And I also realized there's almost no knowledge on that out there, which is another thing, because I've done a lot on Varanasi, I've done a lot of those big bamboo Gadas, but not a lot on the Gada fighting technique of sides, and I really enjoyed that because it's also like flowing.
Yeah, no, I didn't remember that video.
They use these movements that we do as a warming up to then battle against each other. It's really engaging, it's really fun. So I like that. I like that angle of it too. It explains more about the history of the tool in a much broader than just Varanasi sense. So that's part of the plan. And then, I have friends there, people there, I have a motorcycle there. It's nice to travel and just be on a motorcycle, visit places that have gadas and make some videos about it. So I probably will be doing that for a while.
The Viking Dutchman.
Yeah, it's all kind of morphed together.
Food-wise, when you go to India, what? Because we were talking about this the other day.
This is Lloyd's fear.
I'd love to go to
This is why we can't travel.
I have a terrible stomach, and I don't know anyone who's ever been to India and not been crippled.
Yeah, you have to be smart.
Yeah,
and you have to be okay with the fact that you're gonna take a misstep one time.
So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's just what you gotta do. Especially if you go to Varanasi, you have to be really, really careful.
Careful with what though? What?
Careful. Okay, so there's a few rules. Water has to be always from a bottle. That also means from food. So last time someone else got water from me, or like they got juices. So if you order juice, for example, they would always mix it with some ice and some sugar. So you always have to say no ice, no sugar. And you have to kind of look when they're making it that they're actually not putting it in there, because they will do if it's like underneath the counter. They would just like, when you're not looking, they would put it in. I've had this a few times. I'm like, God, I just no water, no ice, no sugar, because it's cheaper for them if they add.
Yeah.
You know? And then they
fills the glass.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like those you have to be really, really paying attention. Better not to do juice, but I love the juice because it's like fresh and it's like real, like it's nice. But you just have to be really careful. And then I learned this the hard way too. Don't get street food.
Yeah.
And the first years I always got street food because I was like, I'm living like them, I'm eating like them. I'm not going to pay as much as a tourist. Like I'm just paying the same as everyone else, you know, which is really cheap. But then I got sick a few times and I was like, okay, I'm done. And since then I'm just going to restaurants that really feel good.
Yeah.
I can see, like I kind of now understand what are good restaurants. They don't have to be expensive, but I mean, where they have a good quality of food. And you don't get sick if you do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to be careful. Don't accept things from people that you haven't ordered. And don't eat street food. And be careful about water. Yeah.
So don't be a cheapskate.
Yeah. And realize that, you know, they have a different food culture, so you have to be really open to it. And that's all about India. It's like you have to be open to a very different culture and be like, hey, what do you have to offer for me?
Yeah.
Not be like, I want to have what I'm used to.
Oh no, I'm open to that. I'm open to a change of culture. It's just literally, I'm just terrified of. It's happened to me one too many times where I've just had a crippling stomach.
Yeah. There's some probiotics you can take too.
Yeah.
Which should help. Which helped me over the years. Yeah. There's a few things you can do. A few things you have to be mindful of. And then still be prepared.
Still be prepared to change your underwear.
Yes, which is also something that can help you because you're not resisting it. You're like, all right, I can't do any filming today.
Yeah. Can put my brown pants on today.
Exactly.
Excellent. But on to the course again today. Obviously, there was a different way of swinging 360s and 10 to 2s. Not a different way. Well, yeah, an alternate way of doing it. Would you favour that way over? Would you favour the traditional way over the more Western way, like throughout? If you know what I mean.
No, I don't really understand what you mean.
So with the way you were teaching to do the 360s to pull them out.
You mean 300s or the 10?
The 300s, sorry, yeah. Would you favour that over doing the normal down to your stomach pull?
Well, that's the way I teach it.
And is that the only way you'll ever teach it? As in, like, it's fine to do it that way, but this is the way I'm teaching it.
Yeah. It's just something that that's also for me what feels best for steel versions.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go to India, they would teach it slightly different. Because if you have a bamboo handle and a stone, there would be a lot more looking down and like countering the weight, which we haven't really focused on now. It was more about the positioning, holding it, and where the mace should be.
As in, like, bending your body over to break
like
it.
almost like crunching it.
Yeah.
Because if you're swinging 45 kilos, it quadruples in torque.
Yeah.
So there's like 160 kilos pulling you backwards.
Yeah.
So you got to move forwards. If you're not moving forwards, you're gonna drop backwards. So yeah, there's that is for me the universal way of teaching that movement, and that I appreciate, both for maces and gadas. And if I would be in Varanasi, I would kind of change small things, because from the people that have gone to, they realize like, oh, this is a different animal. Like 20 kilos on a bamboo stick feels different than 20 kilos on a steel stick.
Well, even your gada that you brought, it's like 8-9 kilograms.
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
And that, when I first used that, I was like, there's like 25% of my repertoire is just gone now because I just can't. There's no centre of the mace that I can balance on my hand. It's just all in the head. So everything I tried to do, I was like, that's gone. Can't do that anymore. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I distinguish between mace flow and gada flow. Because to me, I felt like mace flow is amazing, but there's a really specific weight distribution that you need to be able to do some of the movements of mace flow, and that's when I decided I needed also a course section for Gada flow, because lots of people have adjustable maces, they've got wooden maces, they've got bamboo maces. These are different tools all around the world, so that's why I build a specific segment with movements and flows and connections that are specifically for those types of maces. People that have really long maces or really heavy ones, you can't do the same movements with it, right? So I always like to create flows, like streams of movements with the tools that I'm using, and this is why I also made the distinction between a Gada and a mace. Not because Gada doesn't mean mace in English, but more as the more traditional style focused, and the other one is more full body focused. Lots of more lunges, more exploration, more transitions, more flows.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I think that's what was interesting to me as well, was like you said with the 300s. It's funny how you would have one standard technique. Harbert's got a different standard technique.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you check yourself a little bit of like, we are coming at this from our extremely Western centric perspective of, well, this is how we do it, which makes it normal, so how other people do it is alternative. But actually no, it's not like that at all. I think like with our 10 to 2s, we've fallen into a certain way of doing them because we're doing a lot of competition training, we're doing them for speed, and actually I think even if you looked at your 10 to 2 technique from way before we ever started doing the King of the Swing competition to now, even your style's probably evolved
changed massively.
And you've developed like a speed swing and a speed technique. And maybe we've lost perspective a little bit on actually.
Well, that's why I think it's
not how you do this. We do it this way for this purpose.
Yeah.
But actually, I guess the whole point of the 300 originally was to move a very, very heavy weight, and as you say, often on the end of bamboo, which is going to be, if you try to do that the way we do with speed 10 to 2 for the competition, that's not going to work, is it? So it kind of reminds us that actually there's a big picture out there.
That's why I think it's really important for coaches to be students.
Yeah.
Because you can't know everything. It's impossible. Your cup can't be full. So it's important as a coach to, like, I'm in my own world a lot of the time as the coach, with no one to kind of be like, have you tried it this way or try this? So it's refreshing to go to another coach and have an outside perspective on another way that it's done and be like, oh yeah.
It's a great way of doing it. Like in my profession, we'd call it peer supervision, because we've got a lot of responsibility, but also you have your favourite ways of practicing, of gathering information, of doing assessments, and you get a little bit stuck in your own ways. So by law, we have to have peer supervision where we do speak to other psychologists, other practitioners, to remind us that actually there's a broad spectrum of things, and actually you need to have a bit of self-awareness around your practice and realise that there might be actually better ways of doing things sometimes. And I think, it's the same for you as coaches, is that you still need to learn from each other, and I think it's all about growth, isn't it, at the end of the day? Why would you not want to do that? Because it's enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoy learning. I'd never say that I know everything, because that'd just be insane for one.
Steel mace, completed it.
Done it. Hang it up in the cupboard. Close the door on it. What's the next thing?
Yeah, I keep being fascinated by that too. It's just, I spend a lot of time on it, going really deep, and it just seems to keep expanding. And there's like new doors opening all the time, and it's partly because I think that's what the world is. It's like a magnifying glass. You can open up your vision, and then when you zoom in, you can just keep zooming in, just like when they cut the atom, it just kept expanding. It's like this, and that's so fascinating, because that's with everything, every little hobby that people have. It's just like this. You go through this. I'm building like something really cool now with all the courses and different segments, and it almost feels like a toy place for me, like a toy store. Because there's so much possible if you have the tools and you want to learn. It's like, ooh, you can just spend years on it now. And I always almost feel like it's like you go through this really tiny invisible door. Like you can't see the door because it's like a niche and you have to be really interested in it. But then when you go into the door, and you and then it just opens up. And you're like, whoa!
Yeah. But like a lot of mine, like I started with me strength and conditioning, and me steel mace, which then went into strongman with the steel mace, which then went into me jiu-jitsu, which then from me jiu-jitsu was like everything I've done in strongman and steel mace has came to this. So then now when I'm back to me steel mace or me strongman, everything I'm doing in M2 is to help my jiu-jitsu. And I start coming up with things with my strongman training or with my steel mace training to be like, this is really going to help this aspect of my jiu-jitsu. Or
very applied.
so I'm trying to form it more to the combat sports kind of side of things, which again, it's like a progression tree where you're leveling up and you can go this way or go that way. And so because you're going that way, this way gets neglected. So it takes someone to come in from the outside and be like, hey, this side of the progression tree still exists. And to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, I forgot. I was too busy focused on this side of, oh wow, this will help me explosivity and this will really help the flexibility on my hips.
It's great to have your own style, it's great to have your own niche within everything and your own purpose, but it's also really important to take a step back and realise where your way of doing things fits in that bigger picture, isn't it? And I think that's the enjoyable part.
But that, again, that's what I like about today. It was like, as I said, going off on this side of the progression tree and then coming back down to there was this way as well. I was like, oh, okay, let's delve down that as well.
Yeah.
And then there'll be this bit of the progression tree which might then link in with this bit and
It starts
just
to
all
connect and then it's like this, but that's what it is. It's like a live organism, and we're all keeping from the start. You know, when we started, there was a really small, tiny community on Instagram, and we started to we kept that organism alive. We kept it we nourished it with our energy, with our creativity. We nourished that little organism. And now that organism is growing, it's becoming a city, and or it's becoming like a country, and then there's cities, and then there's villages, and they keep popping up, you know, and all those villages take in new people from the lands. They are getting them in there, you know? And these cities are starting to expand, and it's beautiful because it's becoming a heartbeat, you know. It's like tuk, 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 tuk. We're still doing what we started with. It just has grown, and not just grown in there's more people now involved with it and you can get more beautiful tools and all these different things, but also on an education part there's a lot more information because people have spent so many hours on it now and taught so many hours, created so many things, and that just if done right with the right intention and with the right vision, I guess it just there's more.
And that's exactly what we want to do with the gym, to make it there's obviously there's people out there far more skilled and have more time to put in it than I do. So I'd never be like, who are you to think you're better than me kind of thing, because obviously I know there's a lot of people far better than me, and I took my foot off the pedal for a bit, and that's fine. But rather than try and do that, we just have decided what we'll do is we'll allow other people to get access to this. I can't we want to make it a hub for people like yourself to come in, people, other great mace enthusiasts and grip strength enthusiasts to come in that people will have access to, because I don't know anywhere that would be possible to do. I don't know a gym or anyone who has the ability to do that. And so when you say about this city with different heartbeats and different people come together, it's that's the contribution that we kind of want to put in to be grow this community by having people be you can get access to it too through this. You don't have to travel to India or Australia. It can potentially be here, because I think there's a massive calling out for it in the UK. For me,
it's about education as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
is just really passionate about lifelong learning, and I think in like a university context, you'd have guest speakers, wouldn't you? You'd have keynote speakers, you'd have debates, you would have all of these things, and it is common practice just to have visiting professors and visiting professionals from other universities all over the world, and it's like, well, why can't you do that with sports, with fitness, with, you know, you could do it with anything really, can't you? But it's just, it only ever enriches your experience. It could never be a negative thing.
No.
And it's just really exciting to give like as many people as possible the opportunity to, you know, not just see things online, but be face to face with people that they maybe have seen online and never thought they'd be able to share a room with in person. And I got a sense of that as well today with, I think, maybe a couple of people that were at your workshop that were like, I'm finally in a room with you and I can learn from you face to face, and what an amazing opportunity that is.
Queuing up to take photos with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't want a photo with any of yous anyway, fuck off. Everyone walking. That was it. And the more when the place had flooded, and me and Beth are mopping it out, and everyone's just like walking past us, like, we're not the fucking cleaners, you know.
Sorry about that.
It's I've been mistaken for a like window cleaner and everything. Like, it happens. It comes with the territory of looking like a homeless person. Everyone just coming past me giving me a $5 for cleaning the floor.
It's karma for you stealing that stuff off that guy's trolley in Costco yesterday, thinking he worked there.
Steal it. I'll keep it.
He's loading his trolley and you're taking it off and putting it in yours.
There was a guy there just loading his trolley in Costco, and I just thought he worked there because he just, and I was taking the stuff off the trolley and putting it in my trolley, and he was looking at me and I was just like,
oh god.
and then he was like, there was just like a silent moment where he was looking at me like that, and I was like, I had this shock where I was like, I'm so sorry, I just thought you worked here. So I had to then start loading his trolley with stuff, and I was like, let's go. Anyway, that's a side story. But yeah, no, as Beth was saying, it's like it was a really good feeling to like see people excited to see you, and just to think,
You've done an amazing job with the gym. It's really cool. It's really cool to see that, and if it's always felt like that. I mean, for you, it feels like a vision. To me, we talked about this in 2019. Like, let's do this. Let's get it rolling. And then COVID happened, and the whole thing happened. And it's like it was a little bit of a break, but for me, that has always been, Valhalla was always the place. You go to the UK, you go to Valhalla, and that's it's exciting to realize that we just did that.
Yeah, it's mad. You know what? That's probably not even settled in my head yet.
No, we just did that. Yeah. We created
6 years in the making.
Yeah, it's been a long time, 2019, eh? Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, my path took way more focus towards online courses after that. Which made in some ways sense, but...
I think mine just took towards survival.
Yeah, understood.
But we're here now.
It must have been horrible.
Everything's on the up and all good. And it's, I'm just happy that we've got through this whole podcast and you haven't once tried to do a Scouse accent.
Fucking hell, mate.
Should we call it on that? Thank you very much. Again, it was really good. I told everyone this when pushing the course. I was like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Hopefully it's not a once in a lifetime thing, obviously, but like it's a very valuable and like, I don't know, like a proud moment. Like we're both massively proud that you've come to the gym to show your way, and I'm very grateful for that, as I know a lot of people are.
Well, same goes to you. I'm very grateful that I was able to do this at the gym, and very excited for what the future has in there, because it feels like to me we could definitely we could do it again, and it would be really, really good to see the movement grow and become, I'd say, more grounded, more rooted, and I think that part of what I'm sharing is able to do that for people. They can take it with a more serious spin instead of having to go through the same thing that I went through. It's available now.
Yeah.
You can learn pretty quickly. You can get to a good 360 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that is really fun because that means that it's much more accessible to the normal person. Yeah. Awesome.
And with that, because we're both pretty tired and you conned me into taking you to the airport at 5 a.m.
I did do that a little bit,
Don't tell poor Zach who just took himself off out of the house when he left at 5
Zach was like,
in the
no,
morning
that wasn't
today.
5 a.m, but Zach, that was earlier.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. Either way, I just didn't want him throwing up in my car or anything. Right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.